NFTs have provided huge opportunities for digital artists, including photographers, to sell their artwork. Previously, photographers had to rely on selling physical prints of digital images, but now it's possible to sell the digital image itself to collectors. There's a lot of NFT artwork changing hands right now, and some of it is selling for incredible prices, including a recent digital piece that sold for $69 million. There are real artists who previously struggled to make a living who are now finding themselves rolling in money. NFTs really could be the biggest shift in the economics of photography since the invention of digital photography itself. Let's find out how this affects you as a photographer. And just to warn you, it might not be the way that you think it will. The rough idea behind an NFT is that it's an unchangeable record of the ownership of a digital asset based on the data of the asset itself. It's recorded on a blockchain, which is the same distributed digital ledger technology that powers cryptocurrencies. In fact, all NFTs are bought and sold using cryptocurrency. NFT itself stands for non-fungible token. Fungibility basically means interchangeability. $1 is the same as another dollar. 1 ounce of gold is just like another ounce of gold. 1 Bitcoin is the same as another Bitcoin. Non-fungible, however, means that each token is unique and they're not interchangeable because in theory, no two artworks are the same. The token part of non-fungible token is something like an ID or certificate. Each artwork has a token that represents the artwork. So non-fungible token is basically an overly complicated way to say non-interchangeable certificate or something roughly along those lines. It's a terrible name, but that's what these things get called. NFTs have actually been around for a few years. It started in 2017 with CryptoPunks, which used blockchain technology to record the ownership of a limited set of 10,000 collectible characters. These 10,000 unique characters are still being bought and sold today with prices in the tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and some going into the millions. A lot of the early NFT activity surrounded these kinds of character or trading card-based projects. A lot of these early projects have made a metric crap ton of money doing this. However, people lately have been realizing that NFTs are a great medium for buying, selling, and owning digital art. Previously, there wasn't a great way to do this except to sell physical prints of an artwork, but that's different than the artwork itself. An NFT basically allows you to claim ownership of the literal digital art file itself, which is a lot more interesting for collectors. This opens a whole new world for digital artists. In February of 2021, for example, musician and artist Grimes sold NFTs for 10 artworks that netted her about $6 million, which tripled her estimated personal net worth. And in March of 2021, well-known digital artist Beeple sold an NFT for one of his pieces at auction for $69 million, making it the third highest art auction sale by a living artist. That dude's life just changed in a big way. Most of the digital artwork that's sold right now tends to be things like pixel art, 3D renderings, photoshops, illustrations, memes, animations, and that kind of stuff. There's not a lot of photography yet. But this is still a relatively new technology that hasn't yet reached the masses, so that could absolutely change quickly. Modern photography is almost entirely digital by nature. There just aren't a lot of film photographers out there anymore. This means that original images are fundamentally digital, not physical, making NFTs a more compelling collectible when compared against selling physical prints of an image. Even when the photos are edited, they're still edited digitally, so the original is still a digital file. Anyone can own a physical print of an image, but a serious collector might want to own the actual digital image the print was based on. That's where NFTs come in. So, should you start turning your images into NFTs and finally get that bag for all the work you put into your art? Well, it might not be that simple. First of all, there's nothing that makes NFTs particularly authoritative as the official record of ownership. There's no official art-related institution behind it or anything like that. It's just a technical platform. I think it's an okay platform, but there are other platforms out there, and there's no specific reason this one should win over others. In fact, it's got a couple of things going against it. First of all, most NFTs are super energy hungry. Because of the cryptographic work involved in the process, creating a single NFT has a significantly larger environmental impact than you'd imagine. For example, one artist canceled his 6 NFTs after learning that he created them using more energy than his entire studio had used in the previous 2 years. That's a massive problem. Additionally, there's nothing particularly authoritative about the ownership claims of an NFT. I went through the process of creating one just to see how to do it, and there was very little identity or ownership verification involved. It would be very easy for me to pretend to be someone else and to upload someone else's artwork. For a system that uses blockchain to create a supposedly authoritative ledger, that's a little sketchy. On top of all that, by the standards of normal, everyday people who aren't used to convoluted crypto stuff, the process of buying an NFT is actually relatively complicated and annoying. It's not like you just hop on Amazon and order home decor. Almost all of the tutorials on how to buy an NFT assume you're already someone who understands cryptocurrencies, which most people obviously don't. That significantly limits the audience for buying your photography. Even if you have a large audience already, only a small fraction of them have probably ever done anything with crypto before, and an even smaller fraction of those are up to the task of completing the steps required to buy an NFT. Most of the people buying NFTs seem to be pretty deep into the crypto industry already, rather than being traditional art buyers or typical retail consumers. And this is probably why so much of the art being sold today leans toward the techno-nerdy side. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually really like that stuff. But it's something to keep in mind if you're trying to sell your photos of wildlife or landscapes or street photography. There's just not a lot of that kind of stuff moving in the NFT space, at least not yet. And it's also pretty expensive. I had to spend the equivalent of about $80 to mint an NFT of one of my photographs, which is never going to sell. If you're a well-known photographer and you're sure you'll be able to sell all your photos for good prices, that's totally doable. But for average folks, that's a lot to spend just to make a photo purchasable. If an e-commerce platform like Shopify told me that I had to pay them $80 for every photo that I wanted to sell, I'd tell them to I'd tell them to do something, that's for sure. So, while I really love the idea of digital artists like photographers having a better way to sell their artwork than simply making physical prints, I also believe that NFTs in their current form have a lot of shortcomings that are going to hinder their widespread adoption. Frankly, you might be better off just putting together some kind of certificate of ownership of the digital files of your photograph and selling those through traditional e-commerce. That's something anyone can buy. It doesn't require enough energy to run a family home for 2 months, and it could be argued that it's just as authoritative as an NFT, if not more so. But there is hope for NFTs, especially as they mature and evolve. Just as it eventually became feasible for regular people to buy Bitcoin, someone's also going to make it straightforward to buy NFTs. And newer technologies like Cardano have the potential to drastically reduce the energy consumption involved, which is absolutely required for crypto solutions to be plausible. Until then, don't worry too much about jumping on board the NFT hype train just yet. Check them out, get to know more about them, and be ready to do something if things change, but for right now, you're probably not missing out on much.